Okay, this is lesson 1-2, page 18. Find the length of each line segment or object. So for number 1, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I would say about 7. 5.7 centimeters or 57 millimeters. Number 3, we would have 1 inch, and looks like we're on the 8th marks there, so we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eighths. For number 5, find the measurement of each segment. Assume that each figure is not drawn to scale. So if we want to find the length of CD, we would add together 1.1 and 2.7. Which is 3.8 inches. Find the value of x and the length of BC if B is between C and D. So first thing that we could do is make a diagram for this. B is somewhere between C and D. CB is 2x. BD is 4x. And BD is 12. Okay, so the first thing that we can do is find x. Since BD is 4x, which equals 12, we can set those two equal to each other. And x is equal to 3. So if x is equal to 3 and we want to find BC, so BC and CB, they're the same thing. So BC is equal to 2x, or 2 times 3, which is 6. Number 9, the Indiana state flag was adopted in 1917. The measures of the segments between the stars and the flame are shown on the diagram in inches. List all of the congruent segments in the figure. So we just want segments that have the same length. So that would be AG and GF, BG and GE, and CG and DG. And this is how we would write it. Okay, on number 13, we're measuring in inches, and it looks like it's closest to this mark, which is a 16th mark, which is one less than a full inch. A full inch is 16 sixteenths, so we would be at 15 sixteenths. On number 19, we want to find the length of FG. We notice that FG, GH, HJ, and JK all have the same length. So we have 4 segments with the same length. That's what this mark means. So we want to find FG 16.8 and divide that by 4. Number 21 through 26. Find the value of the variable and yz if y is between x and z. So let's do 23 and 25. First, we want a diagram. and y is between x and z. So on number 23, xy is 7a, yz is 5a, and xz is 6a plus 24. Okay, so from this diagram we can set up an equation where 7a plus 5a has to equal xz, where xz is 6a plus 24. So combine your like terms here. Subtract 6a from both sides. And divide by 6. So we get a is equal to 4. Careful with your directions. You're also asked to find yz. So yz is 5a, so substitute in 4 for a. And we get 20. For number 25, we would do the same thing. We would make a diagram where y is between x and z, and xy is 4n plus 3. yz is 2n minus 7, and xz is 22. So from our diagram, add these two together, and that should be this whole length. Okay, so I combined my like terms on the left. Now I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And divide by 6. So 26 over 6, which we could simplify to, if we divide by 2, (13/3), or that would be 4 1/3. We also need to find yz, so we're going to substitute in for yz 2n minus 7. So I'm going to take 2 times 13/3 minus 7. So 2 times 13 would be 26/3. If I convert 7 to thirds, 7 times 3 would be 21/3. 26 minus 21 gives me 5/3, which is equal to 1 2/3. So here's our variable, and here's our length. For the next set of problems, determine whether each pair of segments is congruent. Remember that any of the problems that have the green circle, when you get online for your ebook, if you click on that, it'll give you a step-by-step solution. So I'm going to go over number 31. We want to know if mn, which is 4x, is congruent to rq, which is also 4x. Since they have the same length, 4x and 4x, then yes, they are congruent. So on number 37, if point B is between points A and C, explain how you can find AC if you know AB and BC. Explain how you can find BC if you know AB and AC. So always make a diagram. So for our diagram, this is what we know. We know that B is between A and C. So I'm not going to write this out. I'll just talk about what we would need to know. So we can find AC, we can find the entire length by adding AB and BC together. And then the second part, how can you find AC? So how can you find, whoops, that was the part I just said, sorry. So the second part, explain how you can find BC if you know AB and AC. So if you know the whole thing, if you subtract this part away from it, that will leave you with this part. So subtract AB from AC to find BC. For number 39, point K is between points J and L, so we'll make a diagram. JK is x squared minus 4x. KL is 3x minus 2. And JL is 28. Write and solve an equation to find the lengths of JK and KL. So we have to solve for x. So we know that the length of JK plus the length of KL always has to equal the length of JL. From here, we would combine our like terms and get this in standard form, since it's a quadratic. So we have x squared minus 4x plus 3x is minus x. Then we have minus 2. I'm going to subtract 28 from both sides so that I get minus 30 on the left and 0 on the right. From here, I can use the quadratic formula or I can use factoring. So if I'm using factoring, my product is negative 30. So I want two numbers that have a product of negative 30. So negative 5 and 6, or 5 and negative 6, or 2 and negative 15, or negative 2 and 15, or, you know, the list goes on. So let's see if we have the right one here. We want a sum of negative 1x. Okay? So this would give us a sum of negative 1, but a product of negative 30. So we can split this up into x plus 5 and x minus 6. And if we FOIL that, we would get this back. From here, we would set each factor equal to 0. So if x plus 5 equals 0, x is equal to negative 5. And if x minus 6 equals 0, x is equal to 6. If we look at our answers here, if we substitute in a negative value for x here, we would get negative 15 minus 2, or negative 17. We cannot have a negative length, so our answer must be x is equal to 6, which we would then substitute in. So to find JK, x squared, or 6 squared, minus 4x, or 4 times 6, would give us 36 minus 24, so JK is 12. KL, on the other hand, is equal to 3x, or 3 times 6, which is 18 minus 2. So 18 minus 2 gives us 16.